So improving integrity, what does this mean for security teams? When I speak to security teams, I often hear this notion of out of sight, out of mind is how people usually view them. When security teams are doing the right things, no one really cares. But when something goes wrong, however, someone has an opinion about everything. How can a security team show that they're doing things right, even in the good times? So I used to be a teacher, and at our school, we had house points for different values, effort, commitment, etc. And one of these values was integrity. We used to hand out badges for these house points, and we realized that we'd always have a larger pile of integrity badges left over. We wondered, do our students just not have integrity, or is this something else? We ended up putting it down to our lack of defining what we mean by integrity, and so I'd like to start with some definitions today. So I'm sure we will all recognize the CIA triangle. In the context of security, integrity often means assurance of the accuracy and completeness of data and providing non-repudiation. But this is a really technical definition, and I'm going to level with you. I'm not the most technical person. So let's transition from technical to non-technical definition that everyone can relate to. HackerOne CEO Martin Mikos likes to say that integrity is how we act when no one else is watching. So thinking back to that out of sight, out of mind phrase, I want you to focus on how you can demonstrate integrity in your security teams. So when the founders and original employees of HackerOne first got together, they wanted to think of 3 things we could spread out into the world as a message and a mission. Cybersecurity is collaborative, transparency breeds trust, and a big focus is how can we and security at large help organizations to move faster rather than slowing them down, which is often a misconception of security. So firstly, who am I? So before we go any further, I should probably introduce myself. My name is Yasmin Hayden, and I've been working at HackerOne for about 18 months now. As I mentioned, I used to be a high school teacher, but now I educate companies instead. And HackerOne. So HackerOne is the global leader for hacker-powered security. We've run over 2,000 programs, and here are some of our wonderful customers, including Kindred. We have a global customer base, but also a global community of over 850,000 hackers. And this year we hit a really big milestone of over $100 million in bounties paid out. So firstly, collaboration. Collaboration is key in cybersecurity, and the way we see it is by including hackers. Collaboration involves inviting people to help you be more secure. Who can we work with to make this better? We often talk about collaboration across organizations and across departments, but who can we work with to make this better and more efficient? Our answer is the ethical hacking community. So I'm going to redefine the word hacker for you. It doesn't mean a criminal. A good quote from one of our top hackers from a dinner that we hosted in London last year was that hackers don't break things, they show you what's already broken. And so they want to help. They're good Samaritans. And there are some stats on the side for why our hackers say that they hack. But when we surveyed our community and what they would define as a hacker, words like challenge, creative, understand were the most common. So we have hackers all over the world, from New Zealand to Hungary, Senegal to Vietnam. And nearly 40% of our hackers devote 20 hours or more per week to their search for vulnerabilities. And 18% would describe themselves as full-time hackers. So what about the rest of them? Well, they're pen testers or in security teams in part of their day job. So you probably know a few. More than 50 hackers owned over $100,000 in 2019. So it can be a lucrative enterprise. And 46% are actually under 25 years old. So while they have the expertise in our community, we're also constantly getting an influx of new, innovative, and creative blood. So this is Tom Nom Nom, and he's actually responsible for the quote that I mentioned earlier about hackers don't break things, they show you what's already broken. He's from Bradford in England, and he's a pen tester in his day job. He got into hacking because he's always loved taking things apart And when his employer started running a bug bounty program, he found his first bug in 5 minutes and actually managed to pay for his wedding, which is not typical, but it was a really good bug. And he's been hooked ever since. So he tends to hack on programs that have a wide scope, and that best suits his skills in recon. He particularly likes to find things that companies didn't know that they had. So going back to the thing of we don't break things, hackers show you what's already broken. And so in terms of trust, this quote really resonated with attendees who happen to have a natural distrust of hackers. We actually had attendees from financial services, and obviously as a highly regulated industry, the word hacker is alarm bells. But hackers can be the proof point to show you how trusted you are and your security team are. So, integrity in terms of trust then. At HackerOne, we have core values that I'm sure all companies want to do. And one of them is to default to disclosure. We like to think of this from the viewpoint of why would you hide or not share this rather than vice versa? Sometimes there are obvious answers. It might put your security in jeopardy, for example, but there are lots of scenarios where that's not the case. And so where can we default to disclosure? Well, the disclosure of vulnerabilities. If they're already remediated, sharing hacker findings, disclosing these, showing what hackers have done to help us may too help others. There's nothing to hide. They're already fixed, so you can be trusted. And it's also why companies have VDPs. If you want to find something, let us know. We want to fix it. Like I said, a lot of hackers are good Samaritans. So nearly 1 in 4 hackers have not reported a vulnerability that they have found because the company didn't actually have a channel to disclose it. Vulnerabilities are out there. Gartner predicted that 99% of the vulnerabilities exploited by the end of this year will continue to be ones known by security and IT teams at the time of the incident. More often than not, somebody already knows about these vulnerabilities. So do you want to know what those on the outside know now before they're exploited? So security is, in a way, an infinite game. It can't be won or lost. You can only play against your adversaries. So every company views risk through a different lens, but organizations always want to know how their peers and competitors are playing and how to keep up in this game. Well, this is what people are doing. Vulnerability disclosure is being implemented as standard across the world, and we're even working with governments as well. If you want to show integrity and be transparent, it's a great place to start. So thinking about collaboration and transparency and trust, how can security then be an enabler of speed and innovation rather than being perceived as an inhibitor or a roadblock as it commonly is perceived as? So this is a diagram of Cornell University. And when they first built their liberal arts quad, they built the buildings first and then waited a year to see which way the students and professors would take before building the pathway. This is called a desire path. And a desire path, as they're called, usually represents the shortest or most easily navigated route that a human can take between 2 points. How is this relevant? Well, innovation comes in many forms. I'm not in any way suggesting that we leave security until after the fact, but going back to the collaboration point, maybe the new and creative approach is to see how others would use or attack as we design. Security testing, such as bug bounty, for example, can be used across multiple phases of development. Do you want to build paths that people don't use or need and have them try to cut around them? Or if you build those shortcuts in, it means that people won't go looking for shortcuts and therefore use your tech in an incorrect way, causing security issues. In the interest of speed, I'm sure you want to incentivize desired behavior. Bug bounty is that shortcut to finding a vulnerability, aligning incentives. The desire is to be fast and straight to the point, as opposed to checkbox testing and producing unwanted findings, slowing us down and which can be irrelevant. So bug bounty then. This is a great quote from Joseph over at Kindred. And Kindred is running a bug bounty program with Hacker1. They are now public as of earlier this year. And they release code daily, and only bug bounty can really keep up with the pace of that. So bug bounty is a proof point that security teams, of a security team's integrity in many ways, but also a culmination of collaboration and transparency coming together to enable speed and innovation. So we want to empower the world to build a safer internet. This is the Hacka1 mission, and hopefully today's talk has given you some ideas for your security teams to demonstrate integrity. If you'd like to know more, feel free to download our Hacker-Powered Security Report 2020. It's now on our website. It's a comprehensive understanding of both our hackers and our programs across different types of organizations. Thank you for your time today.